Hello, everyone. Glenda Mollet here, and welcome to my craft room. Whew, just made it. It is time for some coloring tonight. I am going to color a few things using our Stampin Blends. This is something that I get asked about a lot of how to color. And I thought I would do a bit of a coloring class tonight. We'll see if anybody shows up to enjoy it. Now, you have to make sure you give StreamYard permission because this is in my VIP group, so it doesn't allow your names to show up. If anybody is out there, I don't know. But hi. Had family for dinner and dinner was late and oh my gosh, lots of stuff. Okay, so let's get this set up just about. And I wanted to have this all done before I went live, but it didn't happen because family. So we will just give this a little bit of a trim here because I don't want to have to be dealing with full sheets. So we have a flower and a fox and a different kind of flower. And we'll just see. Give it a couple of minutes, and if nobody shows up, then I won't be doing the coloring, but if people show up, I will. So we'll see if anybody is going to show up for the class. There we go. All right. So if you're out there, give me a hidey ho so I know that you're watching. And sometimes Facebook tells who's there and sometimes it doesn't. And we have some animals, we have some flowers. Oh, there's somebody there. Oh, hello, Holly. Yeah, make sure you click on the link and let StreamYard tell me who you are. And got a gnome. My favorite to color is, hello, Sharon. My favorite to color is the sunflower. All right. So, are you guys going to be coloring or are you going to be just watching or what? I think I'm going to start with this. So if you got images stamped and you're going to color along with me, someone is just watching. I don't know who that is. Oh, Holly. I don't know why. Maybe I'll just watch over here. Seeing as I'm going to have my head down most of the time anyways, I'll just go over to Facebook and watch. Sharon's just watching, Holly's just watching. And that's it. I don't think there's anybody else out there. Oh, now. All right. So is that close enough, or do you want me to get this the camera down a little bit closer? Oh, there's Janet. Do you want me to get the camera down a little bit closer so you can see the coloring happening, or is that good enough? Let me know. This is going to be purple. I'm going to make that purple. So what do I need? I need maybe that, maybe that, Give that. Oh, we'll get out some colors here. Green. That. Hi, Dimity. Hey, I can see your name. Yay. Oh, Holly, you're back. Good. Okay. And get my lifter because we always need the lifter, and then got to get some browns for in there. So there's my brown list. Closer, please. Okay. I'll go down a little bit. I won't go down too close. Let me get over to the live one. Oh, Holly, I forgot I was watching on Facebook, so no, I can't see your name yet. Okay, so I have purples. I have fresh freesia, and I have Highland Heather, and I have Blackberry Bliss. And then for the greens, I have Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. And I have the lifter. Hang on a sec. Let me just close your eyes for a sec. I got to reposition a little bit. There. Now we'll go down closer. There we go. Now I need to do some browns. I think I'm going to get 500 bronze and 300, and we'll maybe a 200. Okay, 500 bronze, 300, and 200. Okay. Hello. Oh, good. There's people showing up. I thought I was going to be all alone for a while. Okay. One thing, the thing I start with, ready to color. Oh, good. Okay. So when I start, first of all, I get out a whole bunch of colors that I think I'm going to use. And then I do a little color swatch. So I know what they look like. So that's the light fresh freesia and the dark fresh freesia, because you never know by looking at them whether they're going to go together, first of all. So that was Highland Heather and dark Highland Heather and light Blackberry Bliss. Now you don't have to do this on your picture. You can do it on a separate piece, but I like putting it right where I'm working. Okay, so that's all the purples: fresh freesia, Highland Heather, and Blackberry Bliss. Now I'm not sure I'm going to use that. Do we have any other purples? Oh, no, I wish we had a gorgeous grape. This is Orchid Oasis. I just want to see what no, see, it's way too blue. Way too blue. All right, so that's the purples. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the greens, although the greens are a little bit easier because there's not so many to choose from. So light Old Olive and dark Old Olive. And then light Mossy Meadow. These are good turtle colors too. If you've got the Playing in the Rain stamp set with the turtle. So there's Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. And then we have the browns. So the browns are going to be the domey things. So I want, first of all, I want the bronze. So bronze we've had around forever. It came out originally. And then this is my cheat sheet for my browns. So I have bronze, 500, 300, and 200. So that's 300. That's 200. That's the bronze. And this is 500. So that's probably the next color up. And then 200. Ooh, that's really dark. Maybe 400. And this is 300. Where's my, I need a pencil now because these are getting confusing already. So that's bronze. And this is 500. That was 200 and that was 300. Now, so let me get 4. Oh, there's the 4. Oh, that's a little bit better. So you never know until you get them on your paper exactly what you're going to do. Now, if I was going to do this to do on a card, I would make this piece of paper much bigger so that you could get your colors on there and know what you're going to use. So let's start with this one, and I'm going to do the purples. So just let me move some of the stuff out of the way so I don't get them mixed up. All right. Gotta do this because I like to have my palette in front of me, starting from the lightest and working its way to the darkest. Okay, you can see that there, and you can see this here. Okay, so I always work light to dark because that's the way I prefer. I find it easier to blend in the dark colors than when I start with the dark and work to the light. Now, they say that it's a personal preference, but I tend to find that anybody that I like their coloring starts with the light and works their way to the dark. Now, the coloring is definitely a personal preference of how you like it. But once you figure out how you like yours to look and which way works, you'll notice that people that you like the way they color, you will know what their style of coloring is, whether they start with the light or the dark. So you put a really good coat of the light on. Now, when you turn it over, it should look like that on the back. It should look almost as colorful on the back as it does on the front, because that means you've got enough ink in the paper that it's liquid. Okay, so now I take this one and put it at the back because I've used that one. Then we're going to add some dark fresh freesia, and I'm going to bring it way down on the petals. Now, at this point, I'm not worried about light source and all that because this is still a pretty light color. So almost right down to the bottom. And then you take your pencil and you figure out which way your light source is before you start adding dark, because that means that, let me get my pokey tool so I can point. That means that this side of that flower and anything that sticks up, so this petal here is over top of these ones, so that these two are going to be lighter on that side. So theoretically, you're supposed to be able to do your coloring now with that in mind. So right up at the top is going to be darker because it's right underneath that hubby thing at the top. And then anything that is over where the petal is over top. But here, not so much because that's where that light source is coming from. So I just added a little bit. Now, if you guys need me to slow down a bit, make sure you tell me that because I tend to get in the zone and I just color. Now I'm taking that was light Highland Heather. This is dark Highland Heather right up at the top. And then I'm going to go just down a little tiny bit where the dark shadows. So on this one, the shadows are going to be underneath those petals On here, the shadows are going to be underneath those petals, but it's not going to be as much because of the light source that's coming. And then, of course, the two in the middle are not going to have a lot of it either. Then I'm not going to use the dark Blackberry Bliss because I think it's too dark, but this one might add a little bit of darkness on there. So let's just try it. See what happens right up at the very top, just where that is. And then add a little tiny bit. I'm just dipping, dotting and dashing. I'm not really adding a lot of color. There. Now I'm going to go back with my absolute lightest. This is the light Fresh Freesia and go over top of the whole thing. So start at the top and pull it down. Now, if you want the tips to be really light, you can do it one of two ways. You can not go over top of it and it'll leave them light like I'm doing. Can you see how light those are? Or you can go back afterwards and add the color lifter. So this is blending all of that in. So that was the light Fresh Freesia. So how are you all doing out there? So this is the color lifter, and I'm just going to lift some color from the middle of the ones that the light source is going to be hitting. Now just add a little bit. Don't keep going over it because it's like bleach and it takes time to activate. So there you go. You can see right here in the center where I've taken some of that color off. So it's dark up here where it's in shadow, and it's darker over here with your light source coming and it's hitting those petals right along there like that. Okay, there's another Facebook. Oh, there's Louise. Okay, if you guys can just click on that link that's right at the top of the comments that says give StreamYard permission, then I don't have to keep going or call you Facebook user, because I don't know what's going on with my. In a private group, you have to give it permission every time you go in there, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so I got my colors lined up again because we'll do this one and we'll do it a bit differently. Now, if I took, there we go. If I took this dark Blackberry Bliss and just went along here, right up at the very top. So you can see that I added just a little bit of really dark right there on that side because the light source is coming here. So it's hitting that bulb thing, whatever that is, the center, and it's pulling and it's putting a really big shadow over there. So then you just go in over top of it and blend that all in. Okay, and another one. Oh, hello, Alina. Okay, so that's that one. Now this one, I'll try and do something a little bit different on that one. I'm going to still do the light, start with the light all over the whole thing. And of course, when you're coloring, you're going to be a little bit more careful about going outside the lines. I'm not worried about it tonight. My favorite flower to color is that big sunflower. I love that one. I've colored it many, many times in many different ways, made it whole bunches. I've made it orange, I've made it yellow, made it purple, made it blue. It's wonderful. Okay. So now where I'm going to add a lot of the color, the top and the bottoms, I'm just going back over top. And I'm going to make this one so that it's light in the middle. There we go. So that was light Hello, Linda. Okay, so that was light fresh freesia. Now we're going to take dark and we're going to go right underneath that center there and not too far out. But then I'm going to go the ends of the petals and kind of pull the color up. And I'm leaving the center, I hope. It's quite small, so can you guys see all right? Okay, so that was fresh freesia. So now I've switched to Highland Heather. I'm going to do the same thing, add some dark right around the center, and then right at the tips of the petals. This technique works really well with the sunflower. The bigger the area, the better it is. But you can see now I'm getting, this is a really light, because that's where the light source is, right? It's coming from that side. Now, I'm going to skip the dark Highland Heather, and I'm going to go right to the dark Blackberry Bliss. And we'll just add some color right there, and just right on the tips of the petals. I haven't planned any of this, so I'm just saying, if it doesn't work, it's because I haven't planned it. Okay, so that was light Blackberry Bliss. Now I'm going to take my dark Blackberry Bliss and do right up there along that center. And I'm just dotting. I'm not doing like a stroke. It's just dotting. So now I've got my light again. I'm going to go back and color around underneath the center, and then go over top of those tips again. Now you notice I'm still avoiding the center because I don't want the center to be any darker. I kind of like it the way it is. So there we go. There's that flower. And it's, so you can go back to this one. Remember, this is the one I put the lifter down the center of the petals to remove the color. This one I've avoided color. I just did one light coating there. I just noticed some that I didn't go back and do. And you can tell when you haven't blended them in because there'll be a definite line there. All right, now I can go back in with my lifter and go over those areas that I left light. And I'm going to go back up to this one and go over top of it again as well. Just the areas that the light is hitting them. And then just do a couple of highlights over on this side. And you got to let that work. So there you go. There's this one. So I didn't put as much color on this one, on the base, as I did on this one. So I added a lot of color, then removed it. This one I added just a little bit of color and I still removed it. So that's almost white right there. But the light source is coming here. So that's going to be the lightest anyways. So how you doing? Those of you that are out there coloring along with me, how are you doing? Is this making sense? Am I going too fast? Do you want me to slow down, speed up? Now I'm going to hit the center. Going to do the whole, this is bronze. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with the light, and then I'm going to work it towards the dark. So I think I'll do number 400 next. Maybe if I can find it. 400. And this is going to be darker on this side and right up against that. And then the really dark one is 200. And I'll do just a little bit right there. And then right down there. So keeping in mind that my light source is hitting this bulby thing. And this area here is where the light is. So then we have medium here and then just dark way over there. And then I'm going to go back in with bronze again. And I'm going to avoid going over there, over top of that original, but I want to blend those two together. So this means that it's still going to be light on that corner. So our light source is still coming here and hitting. This is really light on this side, but it's all nicely blended. So if you're watching and you're enjoying this, I would love it if you would give me a heart or a thumbs up or whatever while you're watching. Okay, let's see what we can do with the stems. Now there's not much of a stem and leaf to play with, but I'll do this one. So I'm starting with a light old olive, and I'm going to go down from underneath the flower and then right towards the bottom. And then the leaf, I'm not doing the top of it. And then I'm going to go in with the dark old olive and do the same thing. Just come in because it's going to be darker where it's underneath the petal there. And it's going to be darker when it's up against there, the ground. And then along here where it's up against the stem, just to give it a little bit of definition there. All right, so that was dark old olive. And I think I'll just use I'm going to skip the light mossy meadow, go straight to the dark. Add just a bit of dark right under there. And then right along where the leaf is attached to the stem and up from the bottom. Like that. Then I'm going to go back to my light old olive again. And I'm going to go over top of the whole thing, even where I didn't go the first time. So where I didn't go is going to be really, really light because it's only got one layer of color on it. And then you just go over top of it till you get it all blended in together. So there we go. There's the stem. Does that making sense now? I'm gonna pop over here for a sec. All right. So this is called, it's a daisy. I guess it could pretty well be any kind of daisy, brown-eyed Susan or Gerber, or what's that one that they make the pills out of? Echinacea, depending on what color you use. All right, so I'm going to put these off to the side. I'm going to end up with all of my colors out here. Just wait. Let's do a pig. Let's do the pig. Still need this, the lifter. And I'm going to use, let's see, Flirty Flamingo, I think. Yeah, so we'll just use two colors and see how we can make it look. And let's turn the light source so that it's coming from this direction, so that his face is going to be lighter than the rest of the body. And I have Flirty Flamingo here. So I'm just going to put a layer of light Flirty Flamingo on most of him. I'm not going to do his face where the light source is because I want that to be the lightest. And I'm going to do, although I want the back to be light as well, I don't want it to be as light as the face is because that's where the light source is coming from. There we go. Now make sure if you don't want to go over top of it each time, then big areas, do it in circular motion like this. That gets lots of color on there and you won't have any coloring lines. You want to make sure you get good saturation of your color. And then there's his tail. Okay, so that's light Flirty Flamingo. And I'll get the dark, and I see that my marker has split. Okay, so now we're going to do dark Flirty Flamingo. He's going to have in the ears, it's going to have it right there where it's up against his skin. That's all going to have light source on it. So we'll get down here on the bottom. I'm going to have a little bit right against the, I don't know whether that's rocks or what it is down there. There we go. All right, now I'm going back with the light and I'm going to go over top of where I put the dark so that we can blend it in. But I'm not going to go right up to the top because I want that still to be a lot lighter. And then I'm going to put a nice light coat over top of his face. Now, because I'm not blending right out there, I'm not making sure there's lots of color, but you need it to blend in nicely. There you go. Now, if you want it'll even lighter, just go in here, take a little bit of the color out, and maybe just one swatch up there on his back. If you use your color lifter and you don't like it, just go over top of it again with color. Okay, so there's our little piggy with the light source. It's nice and light on his face. I did a line up there, not liking it at all. So I'm just going to go over with my light Flirty Flamingo and color it in again. There we go. Now, pigs are a little difficult because we don't really have a nice pink for them. The only other really pink we have is petal pink, and it's not, depends on what color you're putting it on, which color you want to, oops, that's the wrong size. So these markers have two ends. So that's the petal pink. And if you want a pinky pig, you would use Flirty Flamingo. And if you want a more flesh tone pig, then you would use petal pink. Now, I didn't tell you because you should all, if you got markers, you know, one end is a brush end and one end is the bullet end. I prefer the bullet end because I have more control where I'm putting the color. I find between when you put this on here, it bends. You see how that, can you tell how that point is bending? So you're getting a lot wider than if I put this on. It goes a lot narrower. So I have a little bit more control with the bullet end than I do with the brush tip. These tips will destroy a lot faster. I don't know whether you can see that one, how it started to fray. They will destroy a lot faster than the bullet tips. Now there is replacement tips you can get. These are from Amazon. They are for Copic markers. You need the one that says Classic Brush. And I've replaced one of my Daffodil Delight ones with one of these. But these tips cost more than buying a whole marker, a whole new marker. The last time I looked, these were $36 plus tax for 3, and these are only $12.25. So you can get replacement tips if you really, really want to. Okay, so there's the piggy. There's a little piggy. All right, what shall we color next? That one, that one, or this one. Do you want me to do the sunflower, the gnome, or the succulent? I'm going to put some markers away here because they're easier to find. Bird, gnome. This could take me a while. Okay. We have bird and then gnome and then succulents. Dark. All right. Just got the purples left to go. Hang on. Okay. They're all put away. So we want to do a bird. We want to do the bird. Now, if I can remember what I used, because I've colored him already once and it really turned out good. I'm thinking yellow, and maybe some parakeet party, and brown, maybe soft suede. Okay, I'm just going to get a piece of white. That piece of paper. Oh, here, I have one right here. Making sure it wasn't the thick, because the thick doesn't have the same coating on it as that does. Okay, so this is saffron. The light and then the dark. Apparently, I haven't really used saffron. Now I know why, because there's no color in there. That's light Daffodil Delight. And then dark Daffodil Delight. And light soft suede. Dark soft suede. And then parakeet party. Because it's a bird, we could make it into a parakeet, right? There. Now, I need another brown. Well, hello, Facebook user. Who are you? Oh, Nancy. Hello, Nancy. Okay, so what color am I going to use with that? I wanted something lighter than that. Maybe 500. Okay, there. Let's put the 500 on here. Now, I'm going to take So Saffron out completely because I don't know whether you can see or not, but that is the light So Saffron. That is the dark So Saffron. Yeah, apparently I need to replace them because there's something wrong with it. So I'm going to go with Daffodil Delight. Okay, so I'm thinking yellow breast with some parakeet party, maybe a little bit of yellow here and parakeet around there, and then brown wings. Hi, Marcia. Okay, so let's go and see what this. Marcia, you're only late if I've already hung up. So I'm going to give this whole bird a layer of light Daffodil Delight just to get a base coat. And you can see that I'm going around in a circle and I'm avoiding the eye. And I don't want to do the eye. I like to keep the eye white. And just go. I'll put my hand in fast forward motion here. So please forgive me if I go outside the lines. Just remember, I'm not coloring to make a card. If you're coloring to make a card, make sure you're still in the lines. So I'm going around in circles because you want to get that color saturated into your cardstock. And you want to not have color lines. And the only way to not have color lines is to go in circle and get lots of color on there. Now, if you haven't got enough, go back over top of it again. And I'm doing that where I'm going to make the yellow anyways. So then you flip it over, make sure, see, it's not going through all the way. So needs more. Need more color. Need more. You need to have your paper saturated. Otherwise, there's no use even trying because you won't get blending happening. There, how's that? See, that's a little bit better. See that? Now, I'm not worried about here and there because I'm going to be doing different colors. Okay, so that was light Daffodil Delight. Now I'm going to go in with the dark Daffodil Delight and just do where the shadows are going to be. And then if there's any naturally occurring lines on the stamp, then use those. And then I'm going to be putting green, so I don't want there to be too much over there, but we'll do a little bit dark. And then I'm going to do the head is going to be Daffodil Delight too, but I don't want it to be too dark. Okay. So that's dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to go in with my light and blend that all in. But I'm only going where I've got the Daffodil Delight on there. Now, like I said at the beginning, I haven't planned any of this. And coloring is kind of a subjective. If you like it, it's good. So we're just going for it. Okay, I'm going to give it a little bit of green. Add some green in here. And you can always go back and add more color. And if you don't like it, go over top of it with something else. So I'm pulling the green down into where that yellow is so that it's going to have a nice blending. And right there, I haven't done much of anything yet. Now this is the dark parakeet party, and I'm going to use the natural lines on the stamp so I know where to add it. All right, now I'm going to go back to my light So Saffron, and I'm going to go over top of that whole thing and blend it all together. So that's going to take it from being really green to being a nice yellowy green. And you see, I've still got that because I'm thinking that the light source is going to come from there again. Oh, got somebody else that. Oh, Tracy. Hello, Tracy. Yeah, this bird is fun to do. Okay, so now we've got the tummy done, we've got the breast done, and the head is done. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do right there, but I'm going to leave it because I don't have to do it right now. All right, so we have, what do we have? Soft suede, light and dark, and then 500. So the 500 is a little bit lighter, so I'm going to start with that one. And I'm going to add color to the wings. This poor bird. Have you ever seen a bird like this? I'm going to try and stay in the lines. It's a good thing that art is open to interpretation. Now, because I have that yellow underneath there, it's going to tie this whole bird thing together. Now, I don't have a straight line there. I've kind of done a little bit of invading in some areas. Now this is light soft suede, and this is going to take it and really darken up those certain areas that I put it in. So I'm just following the natural lines there that the artist has already provided me with. So just always make use of those lines. Now, right here is the darkest part. I'm not sure I'm liking that, but oh well. And this is the dark soft suede. So we're just going to do the very tips of the wings. And then everywhere that it's really dark, we're going to add the dark soft suede in there. So this is where you start adding contour a little bit. And just add little bits in there just to tie it all together. All right. Now, I could go back over with the brown and do blend it all in with the brown, but I'm going to try and see what happens if I go back over top of it with the yellow and blend it all together with light Daffodil Delight. Because I don't want the brown and the yellow to be two different colors. I want it all to be the same bird. And I'm just going back over top of all the coloring I did with the browns and just pull that all in. Okay, I think that bird needs a little bit of red in there. I don't know. Maybe some Poppy Parade. It just seems like it needs a red breast. So this is Poppy. Oh, that's Sweet Sorbet. Nope, nope. That won't do. Don't want that color. Poppy Parade. There's light Poppy Parade and dark Poppy Parade. Oh well, let's just add a little bit of red in there. Some dark Poppy Parade. and then go over top of it with the yellow. And just blend that all in. And it's taken the brightness out of that, just given it a little bit. Not really liking it. Like I said, I haven't planned any of this, so this is all subjective. That looks a little bit better. Go back over top. Around the edges now, just to blend those edges of that red in. And I'm going to go over top of the whole thing again. Here we go. So there's our bird. Started out with yellow, added a little bit of green to add a little bit of color down here, stuck some red up there under the throat. Now, I'm thinking the wings are still a bit yellow. So let me take that 500. It's going to add a little bit more of the 5. I don't want his wings to be quite so yellow. I'm just going to add, and see, you can go back in and play with this until you get it the way you want it. I'm just covering up that yellow. So now there's no yellow in those wings at all. Now, if I wanted, I could take the brown and bring it up over the head. So there you go. There's no rhyme nor reason what colors you choose. It's sometimes I color an image and then make the card match the image. Sometimes I do the card and then I color the image to match the card. It doesn't matter which way you do it. Whatever works for you, whatever makes your heart happy. And if you just want to sit here and color, then just sit and color. Okay. Bird gnome is the next one. Okay, let's see what we can do with the gnome. Uh-oh, I lost them. All right. What color do you want me to do the gnome? I'm going to put these away. And do you want blues? We haven't used blues yet. Blues, purples, pinks. I should have stamped the lady gnome because she's really fun to color. Okay. Purples. Well, we did the blues with some green. We did purple on this one. So blues. Let's do blues. Well, let's see. Uh-oh. Need to put these away. Okay, blue. Let's get out balmy blue and night of navy. Oh, is it? Blues with some green. Need a flesh color. I'm thinking ivory. Ivory. So we have. Okay, I'm getting out my new bomb. I ordered myself some brand new balmy blues because these balmy blues, well, this one I've had put together with a zap strap because it cracked and it's starting to dry. And that one is starting to dry. So brand new balmy blue. Yoo-hoo! If I can get them open now. Ooh, that opened nice. Okay, light balmy blue. And always keep your caps on your markers in between because they do dry out. Dark balmy blue. And light night of navy. Ooh, that's dark. And dark night of navy. Oh, yeah. That's going to be cool. Okay, so line them up. I always line them up light to dark. And get your names up so that you can see which ones you're using. And then this is ivory, and we'll do the skin in ivory. Okay, we're going to do the hat. I'm going to start with light balmy blue, and I'm going to do, let's have the light source right in the very center. Let's see if I can pull that off. So I'm going to go right down the center and avoid that centerpiece, adding a full coat of light balmy blue. Make sure you go over it and get a nice layer of color in there. And then I'm going to go here. I'm going to do the same thing. Now you don't want to go a straight line because shadows are never in a straight line. Okay, give this a good coating. Squeaky, squeaky. Could tell these are new markers. Turn it over. Oh, look at that. Perfect coverage. Perfect. Okay, so that was light balmy blue. Now I'm going to go in with my dark balmy blue and go right down, all the way down. Just a little ways away from where I did the light, but you want it to go over. And then do the same thing on the other side. My glasses keep hitting my camera because I keep bending over closer and closer to see what I'm doing. Okay, so now we've got the light and then the dark balmy blue with the nothing down the center. And then I'm going to take light night of navy and we're going to go down again. Now this one is kind of, I'm not sure that I like this color, but that's okay because I'll cover up a lot of it with the dark. And then flip it and do the same thing. And I've moved over from where I did the light or the dark balmy blue. Get that all done. There we go. Now we have the dark night of navy. And I'm going to go right against the edge like this. Run that all the way down. And the same here. Oh, it's got a lot of ink on here. It's all bleeding outside the line, so it's okay. So there's the dark. Now it's going to go in a little bit on those natural lines and give some color there. All right. Now, because I had a lot of ink on there, it's actually bleeding outside the lines. So I'm just going to go in with my marker, my color lifter, and go over top of those, and that should take some of that out of there. Okay, now go back with the light balmy blue. And we're going to color over top of all of those. And I'm not going down the center yet. Just blending all those blues together. Like that. And then I'm going to very lightly just go over top of the center once across. I'm not adding more than a light coating so that you still have your the light going down the center of it, but it's not glaring white. And if you don't like those, where those dark lines are, just go over top of them again and they will blend in. There we go. Yeah, apparently those balmy blue markers are really juicy. And we'll just push that. So the color lifter doesn't lift the color, it pushes it through to the back. There we go. That's taking care of that issue. So there's the hat. Now we're going to do the skin. And I'm not going to blend that. It's just going to be... Now, if he had a face, I would put some pink cheeks on there. But he doesn't have a face because it's all covered up with the hat and the beard. All right. And then I think we'll do the clothing dark balmy blue. So small areas are really difficult to blend, so I tend to not try. There we go. Oh, and the arms. Got the arms. It's one side, the other side. There you go. And then for the shoes, I'm going to do dark basic black. So all that means is that you can see through this, so you'll be able to see the lines on the shoes. That's all. It's a little bit more see-through than the dark one is. Oh, I was going to put green. Oh, we didn't do the green. Sorry. Could make the heart green though. There we go. Now, if I take the dark basic black and do the soles of the shoes, I don't know whether you'll be able to see the difference, but I can see the difference. It just grounds the shoes a little bit. There you go. Can you see the shoes there? The light basic black and the dark basic black. Okay, so now, oh, sure ran. Oof. I don't know whether I want Granny Apple or Parakeet Party. We'll do the heart green. You guys wanted some green. That's a light Granny Apple. And this is the dark Granny Apple. So what do you think I should use? Should I use Granny Apple or Parakeet Party? Which one? I'm going to see if I can get rid of some more of this. So apparently you need to be careful when you have brand new markers, because they're a little bit juicier than the older ones. Oh, everybody wants parakeet. Okie dokie. I'll get parakeet. Parakeet. And we'll do the same thing. We'll have the light source continuing down. So right along the center. Like that. That's the light. And then we'll go in here with the dark. And a little bit of dark, not out as far as we did the light. Like that. And we'll go over top of everything again with the parakeet. The light parakeet, sorry. And then just a light coating right down the center. So now you can see the light source is continuing down from the hat, following through to the bottom of the heart. There we go. There's the gnome. Oh my, I've been coloring for an hour. How time flies when you're having fun, eh? So there's our projects that we've done. Now the succulents. Just putting my markers right here. Okay. Succulents. These are easy. Aw, thank you guys. Yeah, don't just go easy on your layers when you have new stuff. Okay, succulents. So I'm going to use soft succulents, surprise, surprise. And evening evergreen. And then we're going to put some fresh freesia. Oh, it's been a while since I colored this stamp. It's been a while since I used this stamp. I completely forgot we even had this stamp. Okay, let's start with this big flower. And I'm going to do light, soft succulent. So this is a bit different because each petal is on its own. I want to leave the tips so I can make them purple and then go around with the light, soft succulent. Now, when you're doing big areas like this that have many little facets in it, you need to do just small portions at a time. Don't try to do half of the flower. I'll just do this one because it's hiding in here. There. So that's light, soft succulent. I'm going to take dark, soft succulent. Let's put some in there. I remember doing this before with the purples on the tips, but we didn't have soft succulent and evening evergreen, so I don't remember what I used. So I'm not putting a lot of color on here. I'm just doing light coats of it because the areas are quite small. There we are. Well, thank you. Okay, this is light evening evergreen. And we'll just get some darker in there. So this is going to go down in the areas where they're covered up by other petals. This is where it gets confusing to me if I don't remember where I've colored and where I haven't. All right, and dark evergreen right down at the base. If it's down in a hole, and that the holes are going to be really dark. And then I'm going to go back with the light soft succulent. Now I'm not going right out to the very edge yet because I've still got that purple to put on. But you kind of want to blend this all together. I think this is turning out to be my second favorite flower to color with. All right, and I'm going to use light fresh freesia on the tips. And I'm going to pull the purple right down into the soft succulent so that I'm not going to have to go back over top of it. It's all going to blend with the inks that I've already got there. Look at that. Oh my God, that's gorgeous. Holy Aunt Jemima. Oh, this is turning out spectacular, ladies. Spectacular. Oh, look at this. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so we'll do another section here. This is the light soft succulent. Just remember to leave enough room there for adding the purple in. So the more room you leave, the more purple you're going to have. Just adding a bit. I think we can do a little bit more. I haven't done the center. I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do in the center yet. Okay, that's light soft succulent and dark soft succulent. Have to make sure that the darks go right down to the bottom or you'll end up with down in the hole where it's supposed to be really dark. It'll be light because you haven't got the foundation on there. So I've been coloring with alcohol markers for probably 16 years now. I don't pretend to be a professional. However, I do have fun. And my friend Candy, when she lived here, she is an amazing colorer. And when she lived here, so I'm going on to light evening evergreen. When she lived here, we spent hours together. She was teaching me how to color and blend and light sources and choosing colors and just having a good time. And then she moved back to the lower mainland of BC, so I don't have my coloring pal anymore. Okay, getting the rest of the light. Oops, wait a minute. That's too straight. Oh, you got to put me on your big screen? I'm sorry. Yay. So now I'm just putting the dark evening evergreen down in the holes where the light is not reaching. Just a little bit. You don't want to add too much, but you want enough in there to make a definition in between the petals. There we are. Think I'm a professional? No, I'm just having fun. And I'm going back over with the light. Gosh, I hope that's light. Yeah. Light, soft, succulent, just to blend everything together. I should get that. Last, was it September, I think? I did a whole coloring thing for an online demonstrator weekend we had, and I should go capture that video and add it to my YouTube channel because there's some really nice coloring in that too. That one I prepared for. Okay, just making sure that I take my purple down into the green so that it's going to all blend in together. Oh, goodness gracious, this is gorgeous. I'm happy with this one. You can tell because I'm taking my time with it. I'm not just clunking the colors on there. You can see it much better on the big screen. Oh, cool. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's see. And I haven't used the dark Fresh Freezy because I think the light works just fine. Okay, let's get the next section done here. You hanging in there? Hope this isn't too boring for you. But I guess if you're watching the replay, you can always fast forward. And if you're watching it in person, live stamping, thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to give my video some love if you like it. I would appreciate a review on my Facebook page too, if you don't mind doing that. But even right here, just hit the heart or the thumbs up or the hugs or laugh or something. Give me some engagement. Then Facebook says, oh, look at the engagement that video got. Let's just push this out so show more people. I haven't done the center yet, and I'm not going to. I'm glad that you are enjoying it. I just suddenly thought that I had grabbed the wrong color, but I didn't. This is the dark soft succulent. And I'm just going just down a little bit from where I put the light in there. And like I said before, coloring is subjective, and whatever looks good to you is the way to do it. If you like your colors more defined, then don't blend them. I'll show you when I get this layer on, I'll show you what I mean between the difference between defined colors and blended colors. And if you like yours defined, that's fine. Don't ever let anybody tell you that your coloring is bad. Okay, so I'll just show you this. So you see how I've got mine all blended together here, but here they're more defined. It's completely up to you which way you like them. I had a fight when my kids, we have twins, and our twins are Gulp 42 this year. How did they ever get so old? When they were in grade 3 or 4, I can't remember exactly what year it was, I had to have a fight with their principal. He was their art teacher, and he wrote on one of my children's artwork that it looked like artwork of a 3-year-old. Well, first of all, you don't diss my children. If they have problems with their schoolwork and it's legitimate, then that's fine. But you don't tell my child who is, let's see, if they were in grade 3, they would have been like 8 or 9. You don't tell them that their art looks like a 3-year-old. So Mama Bear went down there. I was at the school a lot anyways, because I used to do like a lot of volunteering down there. And I went and I talked to this person and told him that I was not impressed and asked him if he had ever seen a Picasso. Because I'm sorry, Picasso's work is not your typical artwork. And if he can draw somebody that has 3 eyes and an ear on the end of his nose, why can't my child do that? Don't you dare fail my child in art because you don't like his drawing. I'm sure I embarrassed my children a lot while they were in school, but they also knew they had a mother in their corner. And I never fought about stupid stuff. Thank you. Mama Bear is right. I never fought about something that I thought should have been right when the teacher said that it was wrong. Except for 3 instances I can remember as my career as a mother of growing children. That was one of them. The other one was when they decided that they were going to teach my children how to spell phonetically instead of the right way. So they must have been, they were 12, grade 6 or grade 7 at the time. And they were starting to get into those words that were really hard, but words that you need. So there's the flower. I'm just going to do the center, and I think I'll do it a little bit purplier. So I went to the teacher because they wrote this. I'm going to start with dark soft succulent. I'm just going to skip. They wrote an essay or whatever it was, and she never marked the words wrong that were wrong. So I went in and I talked to her about it. I said, how come you didn't correct these words? Like, they're definitely wrong. And she said, well, at this grade, they're not expected to know those words. So we don't mark them. I said, excuse me, if they know how to use those words, they should know how to spell those words. I said, you need to start doing your job and correct my children when they have words that are spelled wrong. And she said, well, they're doing phonetic spelling now. I said, yeah, but I also know children that are 18 years old and can't spell sun, don't know the difference between the suns, or Sean, like the sun shone, and it was SHON or SON. I'm sorry, they need to know this stuff. So she refused to do it, but that's okay. Hubby and I did it. We marked all of their essays after that in that grade before they went back to the school with them, and we made sure that the spelling was the correct spelling, not the phonetic spelling. And years later, they thanked us for it because they have friends who still can't spell, and they're in their 40s, which is really, truly sad. There's a whole generation out there that don't know how to spell because they never needed to know how to spell. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? Love it. Love it. I'm just looking at it. That's pretty cool. So I would just go ahead and do all the rest of them the same way. These ones, though, I would do just maybe these, the evening evergreen, do these in soft succulent. But these two, I'd put the purple in there as well. There we go. All right. So last one, we'll start the sunflower. So I'm going to put the greens away. And we're going to need Daffodil Delight, crumb cake, going to need soft succulent, and going to need, what is the darkest? 100. 100. It is easy. It is easy because you can do whatever you want with it. Okay, so I've got Daffodil Delight, and I have got crumb cake, and then we have soft suede and 100. So that's the really, really dark one. So I can get really dark in around there. Okay, here we go. This is light Daffodil Delight. And I'm not doing the edges, the very tips, but I'm going to do the rest. And I'm only going to do a section. I'm not going to, because this, to color this can take up to an hour. And I don't have that kind of time because I haven't had my after dinner nap yet. All right, so just getting a whole layer of light Daffodil Delight on there, like that. Now I'm going to do the same thing with dark Daffodil Delight. Go down a little bit and start. So the third time that I had to be Mama Bear, they were in grade 11. And it was physics. Now, they both went on to be mechanics. So physics was kind of a necessary for the program that they wanted to do. And one came home and said to me that the teacher told him he hadn't handed his homework in. And I knew he had. I knew he'd done it because we had made sure that it was done and we'd looked at it before he took it to school. But the teacher said that he didn't do it. So he argued, and the teacher says, sorry, I don't have it. You didn't do it, so you need to do it again. Okay, now I got light crumb cake. So he had to do it again. Now that teacher, if you did it again, you could only get a possibility of 50%. So instead of your project being marked out of 100, it was only marked out of 50. So he handed it in. So this is just tinting that a little bit brown. That's all that's doing. So he handed his work in, and lo and behold, came the day for the teacher to hand back the projects. Be darned if my kid didn't get 2 of them back. So Mama Bear went in. We had a teacher-parent conference because it was time. I didn't make a special trip. It was during the parent-teacher conference thing. And I said to him, so my kid got 2 of these back. He said, oh, did he? Like, hello, are you stupid? You don't know what you're handed back? Yeah, I never said that to him, but my inside voice said that. I said, well, yeah, and you told him he didn't hand the first one in. And he said, well, he didn't. I said, well, you stamped the date on it, and here's the date that it was of the first one of when it was due. He handed it in on the due date. And here's the second one, which was his second due date. And you stamped the date on that one too. So this is soft suede I'm using here. And he said, oh yeah, okay. I said, so you're going to give him 100%, right? And he looked at me like I had just grown horns. He said, well, no. I said, yeah, he did it twice. And you gave him 50% for the second one. And you gave him, I can't remember what was, some stupid, ridiculous, like 40, maybe 60% for the first one. I said, so add those two together. And you told him he was only getting 50% for the second one, which means that he's got 100% on the second one. So you can just give him 100% on this project. And I expect next time that you will check your records before you tell my child he didn't do his homework. So the child, I think he ended up with like 95% or something on that because he refused to give him 100%. But that was his last year teaching. And I said to him, with all due respect, Mr. So-and-so, you need to get your head out of your ass and do your job. And he said, you know what he said to me? Oh, I could have killed him. He said to me, well, I don't really care because this is my last year and it doesn't matter to me. I said, no, it doesn't matter to you, but my child needs his grades. Okay, this is 100. And I'm going to go right at the base just to give it some dark in there. Now, if you don't want your sunflower to be dark like this, it's okay. We'll just hang out because I'm only doing a section of it this way. Now I've got my layers on there, and I'm going back in with the light Daffodil Delight right down to the base, and I'm going to do the whole thing, including right up at the tips. But I'm only going over the tips once. I'm not going to keep going back over top of that because I want them to be light. And you just blend this all together. And then if you don't want to go right to the top, you don't have to. You can leave those tips white. Now, the more layers you put on, the more ink you have, and the more your chance of running happens. There we go. Now, let's not do the brown for the next one. Put this away. And I'm going to get pumpkin pie, light and dark, and I've got the dark So Saffron. Now, when I did the color swatch of the So Saffron, there's a little tiny bit of color, and you probably can't even see it. Little tiny bit of color for the dark So Saffron. So it's going to give me a base. And I'm just going to do the whole thing. We're going to stick to yellows on this part. All right, so just giving it a nice base coat of dark So Saffron. And I'm going to go in there with my light Daffodil Delight. And I'm just avoiding the very tippy tips of those petals. And up there. No, I didn't do that one. I should have. Hang on. I don't remember doing that one. Those ones I did. All right, I'll just add a little bit of color to the rest of these. There. Well, that's light daffodil delight. I'll get some dark in there. And you can make these sunflowers any color you want. They're really pretty in purples. They're really pretty in pinks. There we go. All right, now I'm going to take a little bit of light pumpkin pie and add just a hint of orange right down in the base of these petals, like this. All right, now, I don't know whether I want to put the dark on there or not. Let's just try. Oh, see what happens to those tips? Can you see that tip? You see how that's frayed? Yeah. That's the tip I use. Okay. Little tiny, little bit of the dark pumpkin pie right down in the corners, just to add a little bit right there. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my light daffodil delight, and we're going to blend that all together. But I'm avoiding those tips. I want the tips of those petals to stay white, almost white. There we go. Oops. Didn't get blended right there. And I just realized that I completely missed a whole petal. And it really stands out that there's no orange in there. How do I know what colors to use? Well, I'm quite lucky because colors pop into my head. I just look at something and I can visualize what colors need to be on there. There we go. There's the yellow with a tad of orange in there. Okay, let me just flip these. So how do I know what colors to use? You could go on to Google and Google the flower and see what colors are in it. Oops, sorry. I don't know. I take my image that I'm going to color. Uh, there. Now let's see both. So I take the image I'm going to color and I go to my storage for my Stampin Blends, which is like right here. This is all my Stampin Blend storage. And I just run my image up and down like that until it catches my eye of a color of what I should do. Sometimes it takes me a time or two to figure out what colors I want to use. Sometimes I really screw up and I think, oh my God, what was I thinking? You could also get some Stampin' Up designer paper and take the colors out of the designer paper because they have professional artists that know which colors go with which. I just grab a bunch of colors and start coloring. And if it turns out, it turns out. If not, I'll stamp it again. You can usually tell. You can usually tell when you start to color if it's going to work or not. So you don't have to color the whole thing. You just have to color little bits of it. And if you don't like it, stamp another one and start again. It's not life-threatening. It's a flower. It's coloring. Has anybody got any other questions you want? You want me to answer? You can go in with your color lifter and just do those tips and make them a little lighter if you want. Just remember with the lifter though, just use it once and let it work. Thanks, Marcia. I do like coloring. Now, I don't know whether I uploaded that other video I was talking about on my YouTube channel, but I will go over and see if I can find it, and I'll post a link to it in my VIP group. And if I haven't got it uploaded already, then I'm going to have to find it in, now if you're part of my team, it's in the SSS Super Team event from last September, but I noticed a lot of people were watching it yesterday, which brought it to mind that I had already done this. And if it's not already on YouTube, I will upload it to YouTube and put the link. Well, there you go. Wendy says Mary Fish has free color combination charts in Pinterest under card making. So you could do that too. But just remember, just because somebody tells you that those colors go together, if they don't look good to you, then get something else. Try something else. Coloring, do it because it makes your heart happy. That's all I can say. If your heart is happy with a pink sunflower, then have a pink sunflower. Just because Mother Nature says sunflowers are yellow doesn't mean your sunflowers have to be yellow. They can be any color you want. And if you watch that other video that I did, when I upload it, when I find it, I did a purple one. I did a purple sunflower, and it is amazing. Absolutely gorgeous. All right. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight, ladies. I hope you have enjoyed this little bit of a coloring tutorial. My next free class is going to be February the 26th. I don't have anything planned, so if you have a technique or a fun fold or something you would like me to do with you, then let me know. And I will see what we can come up with together. Oh, thanks, Wendy. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. And who's that? Holly. Sorry, I couldn't see your name over there. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and make sure you join me tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, page and Facebook group. I'm having a draw for a 50% off item and Share It Saturday draw. So 2 draws tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Stamping smiles, and bye for now.